Welcome to Bringing Down Your Walls Around Money. My name is Wenke, and I'm very excited to be here. Thank you so much, Heather, for creating this wonderful space, the soul filled cafe space to bring people together and learn from each other. I love that idea. And thank you for letting me be part of it. And I also would love to welcome everybody who's watching the video to leave lots of comments and questions and all this good stuff. I'm sitting actually on my couch and I made myself a cup of tea, and so I am with you here in the cafe sharing my personal story with walls and money and the thing that I'm going to talk about today. So to give you a little bit of a overview, I actually grew up behind the Berlin Wall. The Berlin Wall was the East Germany and West Germany was separated by a wall after World War II, and basically we Easterners, East Germany was behind the wall, meaning we weren't able to travel anywhere into the West. That wall represented our limitations that we had, the limitations of not being able to travel. My family actually was separated in half. My mom's brother and my cousins, they lived in West Germany and we lived in the East. So we couldn't really travel to them. They could visit us, and they did once a year. The other thing that the wall represented was freedom of speech. Um, we could not criticize the system or the regime, the dictatorship that was, ruling. If you were criticizing the regime, you were actually really in danger to go to jail. My intention is to share my story and help you, inspire you to find a way to get close to your wall and look at it and create a relationship with your wall so you can break through it like we did. My parents and me made the decision to become part of the political underground to bring down the Berlin Wall. And that meant that we were starting to organize people every Monday night in churches. But when you make that decision to stand up for your own freedom and to speak your mind and share your opinions no matter what, and you make that decision to bring down that wall, that's a powerful, powerful experience. We did decide at one point to go onto the streets. That was an upgrade. It's even more scarier. We're going to become visible. And we made that decision, and we walked out of that church that Monday night, and it was our first demonstration, walking down the main street in our town. We're going to walk down that street. We knew that thing, but we didn't know, are we going to get killed or are we going to get arrested? We didn't know anything, and it was scary as hell, but it was the most freeing moment in our lives because we became visible. We took our own freedom in our hands and we walked down that street. And more people joined us. Every week more people joined us, and it was just in the hundreds, then in the thousands, and then it was in the millions. And then November 4th was the biggest demonstration in Berlin. All these artists started talking and being up on the podium and speaking their minds, risking their lives. And 5 days later, the wall came down. Just like that. Boom. We started traveling because, now we were able to go to West Germany and France and Italy and Austria. My mom and me, we took the greatest trip in a trooper. It was like an SUV kind of, and we slept in the back and we drove all the way on the Côte d'Azur down and just enjoying our freedom. Just like experience, you know, what it was like to be free. And the moment when that wall came down, the Berlin Wall came down, anything's possible. I mean, that's what I just experienced. You know, anything was possible. Um, you can create anything. You can bring anything down. You can do anything. The more I lived not in Germany, the more I realized that the society was structured differently than the society that I grew up in. Was very different from what I'm living in now, or what we're living in now. Um, in East Germany, there was no class system. There was nobody above or below. When I came here to the States, it became very clear that were there was a different class system installed. You know, here in the States, you probably know that is you know, working class, middle class, owning class. I really started studying people and their patterns around what they would do with money, or their outlook on money, or their relationship with each other. That was all related to the money patterns that they grew up with. And to understand, maybe for yourself, where your money walls or money patterns come from. Because I think when we don't know what's going on in our environment and how it's affecting us, or how it affected our parents and what they passed on to us, it's really difficult to you know, break through a wall. Because if you don't know your money wall, your wall that's keeping you from receiving more and stepping up and letting you be that successful person, when you don't figure out that wall, you will always be stuck with it. And then I realized that we all have those patterns, that how we grew up in whichever class system you grew up, you can relate to these people very well or not. And that's really important to know when you run your business. Which people do you relate to? Because if you can't relate to your clients and what they're going through, then there's a certain disconnect and they don't trust you and you won't have business with them. So I wanted to teach you a little bit about the patterns of the classes